Ginger. Me and Ginger Bell, live from Portland, Oregon. Where are you? In Portland, Oregon, Ginger?
I am about 3 blocks away from the Nike campus in beautiful Beaverton, Oregon.
Okay, Beaverton, Oregon. I was close.
Yep.
In the live studio here in Alexandria, Virginia. If you guys didn't recognize the voice, this is the one, the only, my friend, Ginger Bell, CEO and founder of Edge Marketing. How you doing, Ginger?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here.
You got some nice funky music for you playing.
I know. We're rocking out.
So it's good. Looks like we have some feed issues going on here, JP. I'm just letting you know. Looks like Facebook is having some kind of issue, so you may want to check that out. I don't know.
Oh, meta.
Yeah.
Meta.
They've been having some problems lately, I heard.
They have. Meta's in some
Were you
issues.
affected by this Facebook outage the other day?
You know what? We were, because we do posting for so many of our clients onto their social media. And so, yeah, we were aware of it. We were in the thick of it. And, so many people thought they got hacked. And it's like, yeah, no, it's just Meta being Meta.
You think they want the kids to grow up? Is that what it is? They punish everybody like you get a 2-hour timeout?
It's crazy. And this is totally off topic, but just, Facebook in general. I got on Facebook back in 2008. And the reason I got on Facebook was because my son was on Facebook, and like any good mother, I was going to stalk him. and then the kids got off of Facebook and rolled their eyes at us and went on to their, Snapchats and their TikTok and all of that. And now they're coming back to Facebook.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to see that full cycle, because I'll get messages from my son's friends, especially like if I'm traveling and they'll say I'm out somewhere and they, live close by. It's like, hey, you're not going to come see me. It's like, you want me to come see you? I didn't know you paid attention to Facebook, and I didn't know you wanted to see me. So yeah, absolutely.
16 years older.
What was that?
It's probably because they're 15, 16 years older, right?
Oh gosh, no, I wish. Double that, baby.
When you really think about it, that's probably they're coming back.
No, they're much older than that now. They're having kids now. They're all graduated from college and got jobs, and
wow.
Yeah, whole different life.
So listen, Ginger, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today, which
Sounds
is really using ChatGPT AI in the mortgage business.
Yeah.
To accelerate, to grow, to kind of even come up to par with the rest of the free world, right? Does that sound fair?
Yeah. It's a whole new world. And, you think about all of the opportunities, and I see this as an opportunity, all of the opportunities we have had during our careers to expand, to grow, to learn, to build, to leverage. And all of those things, you tie that into what's happening with AI and you multiply it by like 1,000 because it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy what you can do that would have taken, honestly, hours upon hours and man time to do it. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
Now, Ginger, you've got a background with educating mortgage professionals. Right? I know this, but maybe the audience doesn't, right?
Right.
So give us a little brief overview. You don't have to go detailed, but I know you started with continuing education and that kind of journey. How did it with making videos and stuff, right? So let's walk into that for a second.
So I've been in the mortgage industry. Sue Woodard and I always say, once you get to 20, it's just 20 years.
Numbers.
Yeah. But before I was taken to the dark side of mortgage, I was a corporate trainer at Dale Carnegie Training. So training has always been a part of me and my DNA. And when I first got started in the mortgage industry, obviously I saw the opportunities for training. And it began with products. And I figured out that if you could do a 1-hour CE class, you could get a bunch of loan officers to show up because you'd give them CE credit, and you'd be at the front of the room talking about something that they wanted to know about. So I started with CE. We did CE for loan officers when I worked for wholesale companies. And then because I was doing so much CE up and down the West Coast, I had a lot of people that would email me, because before the SAFE Act, every state had its own continuing education requirements for loan originators, right?
That was awful.
And so I would get emails from, originators who had been in my class saying, "Hey, you got my, completion certificate? I've got to send it into the state." It's like, "You don't have a copy of it?" It's like, "Oh man, I don't have a copy of it." And so, I had to provide it because, I was an education provider. And so I, send it to them. And one day, honestly, I got like so many requests in one day. It's like, "God, isn't there a system you guys can track this?" And they're like, "No, man, there isn't." So I actually spent 2 years. We developed software.
Wow.
All the continuing education in every single state. And we actually had a contract we were just signing with the California Department of Real Estate to get over 1 million licensees in our system that they were going to pay us a ton of money to track. And then the SAFE Act passed, and the 2008, everything happened. And so, but I've always leveraged education. I've written and conducted training on every mortgage regulation out there, every loan product out there. And then during COVID, one of my clients is ArchMI, and I do a lot of their one-off training.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had me do webinars on how to do webinars and how to do Zoom and how to do videos and all the things we had to do during COVID that, were good to do in your business just in general. And so that's really where it started with the whole video production, because I've always used video in my business. And that's what I did for a lot of my companies, is created online training on all the different regulations and, products.
How do you take all that and bring that into writing, kind of like this thing you did for ChatGPT? You know what I mean? The mastery class, the book that we're going to talk about momentarily. But I mean, how does that work in? I mean, why ChatGPT and why now?
Well, so if you go back to I'm working on I have a client where I'm actually helping write a book on reverse mortgage. And so he teaches reverse. He teaches it at the university in Colorado and Boulder. And so he has a lot of knowledge. He's never put it into a book. And so we were just going through it this morning and setting up his GPT on his ChatGPT to go through this process with him. And just through some simple prompts and loading his tons of information into his GPT, it honestly just started writing the book. And he and I sat there, and he's an educator like me. He's been, teaching a lot on mortgages for a long time. And it's just watching it. It's like, how does it know that? I mean, it's crazy, but it can pull so much information. And what honestly, Fobby, would have taken probably I would say probably 160 hours with an editor to write this book, we're going to have it completely done before the end of March.
Wow.
And it's just in setting it up correctly in ChatGPT, and then it pulls the information and puts it all together. And it's trained to do that. It's that, it's the GPT, which is the generative pre-trained transformer. And it builds on a word. And we do a lot of the same things. So for example, if I say once upon a, what's the next word?
Well, if you ask a mortgage loan officer, it's once upon a rate. But if you ask
one word,
once upon a time, I get
it's once upon a time, right? And so it's building on that. And that's what it does, is it builds word on word on word. And it's been trained to do this. And you can train it as well. Mm-hmm. And so what's funny, though, is a lot of people get into ChatGPT and they don't really know what to do with it.
Yeah. Is it the same as machine learning, or ChatGPT different?
Well, a lot of it's the same. GPT is a language. And so machine learning can be a process.
Okay.
And so, it's AI, which is, teaching it to build off of different behaviors.
I think
And
sometimes in our industry, people are afraid of this, or they have a misunderstanding of it, thinking, "Oh my God, GPT is going to replace me."
yeah,
That a lot, and I don't see ChatGPT replacing anybody.
no, no. I mean, it's kind of like when the internet first, came about, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, all the sales jobs are going to be gone. There's not going to be any more sales jobs. What are we going to do?" It's like,
Yeah.
you're going to do sales. It's just going to be different.
Yeah.
And now it's a tool, your online website is your tool, your social media is a tool, and ChatGPT is a tool, as well as all of the other AI technologies that are out there. And it's crazy how many are out there that provide opportunities to make your life easier.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your book for a second. JP, if you could put up that little slide, just an FYI. So Ginger's been nice enough to share this QR code with everybody who's watching this. You can download a free ChatGPT Jumpstart guide. It's about 100 or so pages, which is kind of cool. I saw the little Post-it notes in there, by the way. That was kind of cool with your little hints for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought
Prompt tips.
that was really cool, because it kind of like, sometimes when you are learning a new language or a new system, it's nice to have a little shortcut that'll kind of boost you to the next level. You don't feel like you got to read all this manual stuff. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
guys, as you know, we have the attention of a gnat. So it's like, it's good to always just hit the ground running. But guys, if you're on here and you want to copy this, the QR code to help yourself, Ginger's been kind enough to share this with us. She's also said she has an AImasterycenter.com, AImasterycenter.com, which is long, right? It's /Fobby, which is me. And if you go on there and you want to log on for her AI mastery class, she's going to give you a $100 discount if you use that code Fobby. But she's also going to donate $50 towards Potapalooza 2024. And this time we are sponsoring a new charity. It is called A Need We Feed. So it'll be interesting to see how much we can raise for them this year. We didn't do Potapalooza last year, but we're going to do it this year. And I know, Ginger, you're going to be helping me out. But
Yep.
Back to the matter at hand, as I think Dr. Dre said. Back to the hand. Let's summarize the main points of this book, Ginger, so that when people download this, as an author, I know you must have had something like 2 or 3 things you were hoping these guys would walk away from after they read it.
Well, I think the reason I did this book, and the idea with getting started with ChatGPT is knowing how to use it. And so the idea of doing just a quick start prompt guide was to give you examples of doing that. When we started doing video production services, one of the most common questions and concerns and fears that loan originators would share with me is, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It's like, no, you do know what to say. You just don't necessarily know how to say it. Because, somebody picks up the phone and calls you and says, hey, I'm looking at buying a home. What should I do? You don't go, oh gosh, I don't know. Let me think about it. You automatically know what to say.
Yeah.
And so, but the problem is, when you're recording a video, you kind of say, oh, now it has to be perfect because it's going to be recorded. And so I wrote several different prompt, it's same kind of thing, prompt guides. It was before ChatGPT, but I have several workbooks that I would give a weekly prompt. And it's like, here is your prompt of the week. And it had a place for you to write down what's your hook, what's your 3 points, what's your call to action. And so it was kind of the precursor to ChatGPT, because it gave a format and it gave a prompt, and then you would write it out. And now with ChatGPT, you don't have to write it out. It'll write it out for you.
Right.
And so the idea and why I created this, and this is, just one, there's tons of different prompts you can do, but was to get an idea as far as how can you use this? How can you leverage it? Where does it fit in your business? And it's constantly changing. Like, we find new things all the time. We have a client in Arizona who is a real estate agent, and she's licensed in Arizona and also in Missouri and Kansas City. Mm-hmm. And so she does a lot of open houses. She's very busy. And so we manage a lot of her business for her social media. And so I honestly she had 3 open houses. I took the open houses, put the links into ChatGPT with a prompt that said, write a social media post for this open house on Saturday from 1 to 3. Here's the address, here's the link.
Mhm.
And ChatGPT wrote that. And then I took the photos, excuse me, that were a part of the listing, and I uploaded those photos. There was like 6 photos that I uploaded in ChatGPT, and I said, make a graphic with these photos.
Oh, wow.
And so it took the photos, made a graphic, and honestly, within minutes, it's like, okay, now we have a posting. Here's the
So
open house.
you uploaded the photos into ChatGPT, so you copied and paste, right? Is that the way to do
No,
it?
so you upload it. You don't copy and paste. You have to have the plus version. So you have to use the paid version.
Mhm, mhm.
And ChatGPT has Dali, Dalle, which is a combination of Salvador Dali and, excuse me, Wally, which is how they came up with the name. And you upload the photos and it'll make graphics for you. Now, some of them aren't great. We've played around with it a lot and the spelling is a little funky. And so I always tell it not to put any words on it, but it will do the graphics. And then now, what's really cool with chat, you can layer GPTs. So it allows you to interact with multiple GPTs.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you can have Canva, and Canva can interact with your marketing GPT that you set up, and that marketing GPT, we set them up for all of our clients that it has all of your licensing information, all your disclosures, all your disclaimers, all of your websites, all of your social medias, and it has all those links that are already loaded. So you don't have to keep putting that in. And again, that's part of learning it. It's not just going in and saying, hey, write me a social media post. Like, no, set up your GPT, put all your information in there. It's like you don't hire an employee and say, okay, go to work.
Yeah, what I learned with GPT in the last few months is this. It's almost like having a conversation with somebody that's working for me, right?
Yeah.
So if this is my marketing rep. I'm not gonna say, here's a transcript of my podcast. You know what I mean? Write a summary and just walk away. I'm
Right.
gonna say Ginger Bell was on the podcast. She has this book out. We
Yep.
talked about the book. I want you to write a summary, but I want you to highlight Ginger's key takeaways or whatever. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
a conversation. And I think people may not understand that. Like, this is a conversation with somebody that's helping you. Is that a
Right.
good way to put that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're basically you're hiring an entire team. You
Yeah.
can set up different GPTs. You can have, one that does marketing, one that does customer service, one that does answers your emails. And you can actually, so getting on a very technical side, you can connect it with Zapier, and then Zapier through an API integration can do spreadsheets. It can actually post onto your social media. I mean, it's like it's crazy how much you can streamline. And that's the thing that's cool. And we're at such a beginning point on this, Fobby, because there's so many things we're going to be able to do. And that's why I'm so excited about it, because my gosh, it's going to make our lives so much easier that we're going to be able to hand off a lot of the things that we probably didn't do because of time. And now those are going to be able to be in there. And, I mean, job opportunities I see for VAs, just, managing that. And you just have a VA that just manages all of that for you. It's very cool.
So just to retract, not just kind of not wrap up, but kind of, I want to understand. Chat GPT by itself is a language. It's not something that you can put, like, say, the stock market report into and say, hey, is the Dow going to go up 500 or is it going to go down 500?
Well, you can put things in there, and it can give you, based on your prompt, some of that information. It can make graphs. It can make spreadsheets. It can do, I mean, there's a code interpreter, so it can go in and interpret code. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. That's when you start getting really advanced. But, part of like this book that I'm writing with my client on reverse mortgage, we're putting some graphs in there, and you just put some numbers here's the number of, people that are retiring. This is how much income you need, and make a graph showing me the percentage of increase over this period of time. And it'll do that.
So here's let's take this back to the loan officer. So let's say I'm a loan officer. I've been in the business, I don't know, 12 years, right? I got my stuff together. Obviously, we're going through a tough market. How does ChatGPT help me as a loan officer attract more business? What could it do for me?
So the first thing it can do is help with your marketing. And so one of the first things you can do, and we have prompts, and part of it is in this guide too, where you can set up a prompt and set it up to where it'll do everything for you for your marketing for the week. And I'll give you an example. The prompt is set up to where the first thing you're going to have it do, and it's all in one prompt. The first thing is write a video script. And then the second thing is write the YouTube description. And then the third thing is write a social media post for this video. And then the fourth thing is let's build on that video and write me 2 more social media posts with 2 graphics that I'm going to bookend around the video. And then I want you to write me a blog post about this topic. And then I want you to write my newsletter that I'm going to send out my video. You set that up in one prompt, and the prompt is set up. I want you to write my marketing content for the week. I don't want you to begin until I give you the topic. After I give you the topic, I want you to begin with the first item and write out the answer for that item. Once I have reviewed it and approved it, I will type in next, and you will go on to the next item. Wow. That's all in the prompt. And so all you have to do is hit send on your GPT. That prompt goes into ChatGPT and it says, I am ready. Tell me what your topic is. You put in one topic, how to buy your first home, and it gets started. And it writes your YouTube description. It writes it with your, what you're going to have for your topic. It starts with a hook. It has all of your information in there, your licensing information, your disclosures, your disclaimers. I mean, everything in there because you've set up the GPT that way. And then you look at it, it's like, that's cool. And then you type in next and it goes on to the next item.
So I think something that look, I've been playing around with GPT for a while, right? But I think sometimes people do get confused with the word prompt. Because what you just talked about, was basically a dialogue. A conversation.
It's a conversation starter. Yeah, it's what it has in ChatGPT as a conversation starter.
Put 3 words. They'll say, write a social media post. And instead of being like we talked about a little bit earlier, right? But you're being very descriptive.
Yes.
You're being very, you're almost telling it instructions.
It's instructions. So it's prompting. So it's called a tree of thought. And so the idea when you're building your prompts, you have a one-shot prompt, which is just that, write my social media post. Well, about what? And then you have a dual prompt. So write my social media post, and it's like about what, and then you type in. And that's what a lot of people do in chat. And then they get frustrated. It's like, oh, it's not really what I wanted. And it doesn't really sound like me. And so the first thing you have to do is you have to set up your GPT. So custom GPT, and set this up, has all the information in there. You can upload, you can actually get it to write in your voice. And so you can have ChatGPT make a voice guide for you. I did this for myself. I uploaded transcripts from my videos, my books, articles that I've written, different things. And it starts to learn how you speak. And that's what you want it to do. You want to teach it how you talk, because otherwise it doesn't know, but it's going to learn, and it learns over time. And so you create a voice guide, you upload your voice guide, you upload branding guide, you upload all your information in your GPT, and it has that. And then it'll go in and it'll pull from its knowledge. So by uploading files, it goes and it gets the knowledge. We have uploaded like the VA handbook, and it goes and pulls information from all of that. And so you're not just leaving it out to say, I hope you have this information. You're actually giving it that information. And again, if you go back to thinking, if I hired someone, I would want to train them, because we're training it on specifically what I want. The better training you do, then the better you're going to get as far as the output. And so that's what we want to do with chat, is we want to train it. it follows instructions. And if it doesn't, and sometimes it gets a little lazy, and you have to remind it, it's like, listen, you missed this step. I want you to go back to the beginning and follow exactly what you need to do. And then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. I was getting lazy.
I know you read your book. And so, guys, once again, make sure you use JP, put the QR code up again one more time. So use this QR code to download the ChatGPT Jumpstart Guide. It really is cool. But Ginger, like in this book, you do talk about how to craft like a really nice, well-crafted prompt.
Yes.
Right? Because what you're saying is really about crafting the training. I like that word, quite honestly. I like that word better than prompting, quite honestly. What you're really talking about is training ChatGPT to be your VA, to be your marketing assistant, whatever you're asking.
Everything.
Right? And so the better prompting you do, the better training you get, the better results you'll get.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. Yeah, it's like if you hire a VA, virtual assistant, to do your marketing, you're going to do the same thing with them. You're going to say, okay, every week we're going to have a different topic. We're going to create our marketing out of that topic. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to record a video. I'm going to record that video. I'm going to give it to you, edit it. And then I want you to put it onto YouTube. I want you to put it onto social media. I want you to build some other prompts around that, or social media posts around that. I want you to send it out in our newsletter. I want you to write an article. And you're going to give that to a VA to do, which is what, in essence, you're giving to ChatGPT to do. And if you take 30 minutes a week to do this, you can have your marketing set up for the entire week, and you can do it.
Now, once we do have to remind everybody, make sure you're compliant with your company, right?
Well, and that's why I say, and Fobby, that's what's so cool about ChatGPT. I was doing a webinar on how to set up your GPTs. And I have a friend of mine who's also a branch manager like you. And he was on there. He goes, Ginger, he goes, this is like huge for compliance. It's like, yeah, because, and as a company, you can have an enterprise, or you can have teams, even under the plus, you can add teams now. And so you can set up the GPTs for them and put all of that licensing information in there and your disclosures, put the NMLS consumeraccess.org, put all of that in there, and you can make GPT include that in every single thing. So yes, compliance side, huge.
Okay. So let's pause here for a second. We're going to shift, right? Guys, first takeaway is crafting well-known, well-crafted prompts, right? Second takeaway, we keep talking about this thing, my GPT, GPTs, right? JP, because JP is like my tour guide of ChatGPT, right? I'm like, whatever, like he was the first guy to call me up and tell me about ChatGPT. Whenever something happens on ChatGPT, so I feel a little bit spoiled.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah, I'm incredibly grateful for JP, even though I probably, for the record, probably don't treat him as nice as I could. Sorry about JP.
JP, you just heard it.
But I apologize. So anyway, let's talk about my GPT, because this is really some cool stuff, Ginger. Now, I'll let you know, I created one for our team here.
Nice.
Called My Non-QM Helper.
Yeah.
And so now the team can access it and give it scenarios, right?
Yep.
And based on our investors, it will guide you to the best non-QM based on whatever you put in there.
Right. And
so I know that, but I want the audience to really understand from you, because you're an educator, I'm a salesperson, right? I could sell that. I can't.
You're an educator. You're an educator.
So
don't try to give that away.
GPT, like, what is this? How can that benefit a loan officer?
So the My GPT, I wish they would have named it something else, because it's like, it gets so confusing. We're calling it an agent. So basically it's an agent. You're setting up an agent who's going to be in charge of a particular task, if you will. And you can have several, and you can actually set up head agent that is in charge of all the other agents that tell them what to do. I know. That's where it gets fun.
That's a head GPT.
It's the head GPT, the head agent.
Management going on.
There's a blooper for you right there. Okay. So, but the we're talking about my GPT. So you have to have Plus, and it's on the and if you're in the Plus, it's in the upper left hand side, and you open the panel. It says Explore My GPTs, and there is where there's also public GPT. So companies like Canva has a GPT, and so you can go into the main section where you search for GPTs. There's GPTs in there that'll make PowerPoints for you. That'll make graphs for you. That'll make flyers for you. But the GPT that we're talking about setting up under my GPT is yours. And so the non-QM, I mean, it's exactly what you want to do. I mean, yeah, JP is very smart in setting that up for you, is because now you have the guidelines in there. And instead of having to go and read through those guidelines or call an underwriter or I don't know, now you put a scenario in there. And what it does is it goes and it searches its knowledge base. So you're setting it up with a knowledge base where it basically, like you can have an underwriting GPT where you can upload all your guides in there. It'll only take 20 files, but you can combine them. And so you could set up all of your different products in there and then put in a scenario and tell me, which product is best. What are the options for the products in there? So, that's the power of it.
So as a loan officer, though, once again, I mean, I'm a loan officer. I want to explore the GPTs. I'm kind of at could I use it as an LOA? Do you think, like a loan assistant? Or is that too far down the road? Is that something down the road maybe?
Yeah, I think that's probably a little more down the road. And Fannie Mae just did a survey that I saw a couple weeks ago that only 7% of mortgage companies in our industry have even begun adopting anything with AI. And so depending on what that LOA has as far as different tasks, there's probably some things you could definitely set up in there. Follow up on emails, things like that. You could set that up. But as far as, decisioning and asking for, contents, I mean, it would take a little bit. It's not impossible to do that. But probably the easiest thing is to start out with marketing, honestly.
Yeah.
And it can integrate with the CRMs too. So you can do a Zapier and be able to integrate with CRMs, have it communicate back and forth. But if someone hasn't gotten started, the first thing is sign up for the Plus. It's like, I look at it like Netflix, Hulu. It's like, guess what? You have one of them. If you can't afford the $20, drop one of them.
Right.
And use that time to get over and learn about this. And then, do the prompts. So the prompt guide, start using those prompts, set up your GPT. And I wrote so I have a ChatGPT mastery course. I have written it specifically for loan officers and real estate agents. And it goes through, like, if you've never logged into ChatGPT, then it's going to teach you everything you need to know. If you have logged in and you're like, hey, I'm there, I want the advanced prompting. It has advanced prompting.
Yeah.
It has how to set up your voice guide. It has, everything. It has like over 10 hours. It's all online. You can take it in little bits, but it is honestly what you need as far as getting started. And I'm constantly adding to that as well. So as new things come out, then I'm constantly adding to that course.
Guys, just reminder is Ginger's class is aimasterycenter.com/Fobby. When you do that, she'll give you $100 off, and she's going to donate $50 for everybody who signs up to our Potapalooza 2024. And we really, look, I hate to go into the economics, but obviously everyone knows how tough times are right now. We try to make sure to raise money for families that are below the poverty line, that are really having food anxiety.
Right.
And so it's really important. And so we can learn how to use ChatGPT and help families out or get over the anxiety. That's a win-win for a lot of people. So aimasterycenter.com/Fobby. Look, let's talk about something that I think the ChatGPT may be able to help people understand, okay? Or maybe help. Could it define your audience based on some analytics that you give it? If I said, here is the past 200 deals I've done, could it analyze that for me and say, Fob, based on this, you have a demographic of this and this zip code, blah, 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 and then define a marketing plan for that.
Yeah.
See that right there, guys. I just really just think about what I just said.
Yeah. I mean, if you would take what you've done for the past, say, 2 years, as far as production, and you could download that, we would need to make sure that we had information. So, garbage in, garbage out. So, what's the average age? What is your demographics? What was the loan type? What was the income? All of those things. And then take all of that information, and absolutely, you can upload a spreadsheet, you can upload a Word document, it needs to be in a way it can read it. And then and you can even take it one step further, and you can say, for marketing, it's like, okay, I want to know, what was the highest volume that I've done per demographic, and what was the age group like, and what was the loan to value, what was the loan program, and then you can start and take that information and then start crafting your marketing based around that.
Yeah, guys, I mean,
and those are things that people probably don't even know. I mean, you're a good numbers guy and you pull a lot of that, but sometimes we get so busy just chasing that we don't necessarily know what we're chasing. So being able to have some really solid numbers for that and to build your marketing campaigns around that is very cool.
We had Dale Larson, the founder or co-founder, he likes to call himself, co-founder of Modex, on a few weeks ago.
Right.
He found out exactly what kind of data geek I was.
I know you hide under a disguise, but I know you.
No, I mean, just the data. Like if you know the MSA or the zip code that you are more likely to get business from, loan officers, I'm telling you, that information is power.
Right.
Because now you know where your company can penetrate and do well in. I mean,
or if you're going into a market and you don't have that previous information, go get it.
Yeah.
And build into that. If you want to expand, say if you're expanding into a new market, like, the state of Washington next to me, and you've not done any business there, then go get the data, put it in a ChatGPT, and then ask those questions. What's the demographic? What's the average age? What's the percentage of, first-time home buyers? And then reverse engineer to where you're creating a campaign around that based on what you want to do and what you want to reach.
This is just really cool stuff. Like, this is just, for me, this is where my mind gets blown. I want to stream right now and I want to go to work.
Well, and that's the hardest thing, because we all have day jobs, right?
Yeah,
so for me, it's like writing the ChatGPT course. And I mean, I have written and developed training for years. So for me, it's like, put your head down and do it. But I mean, I had to do it, in my off hours because, it's one of those extra things, but I wanted to do it because we need to know. Yeah. And I mean, you and I are so much the same. We're educators at heart. And so, when I wrote this course, I didn't want to say, hey, use ChatGPT and here's some prompts. The prompt guide I'm giving you, because that stuff is what you can start playing around with. But if you truly want to become a master of it, then you need to dive in and you need to learn more about it and understand, what I talked about, the tree of thought prompting, where you have several prompts within one, where all you have to do is hit and send that off one time, and then it'll follow the next tree. And the idea of the tree of thought is you begin with the base, develop my marketing content for the week. And then you have the different branches, which is, do a script, do a YouTube, create a social media post, do a newsletter. So that's the power. And that's honestly, I think what people are missing is the opportunity that lies with the prompting.
Yeah. And I mean, look, I told you guys I'd give you guys 2 or 3 nuggets. I hope you really did get the 2 or 3 nuggets. But the biggest thing that I will tell you, Ginger, for me, right? I was speaking at a mortgage professional thing online for Colorado loan officers or something. And they asked me, like, what's the difference between Google and ChatGPT? Because they'd really, a lot of people say, well, it's the same thing. And I told them, I said, look, imagine walking into a library, right? And that's Google. and then picking a book and having a one-on-one with the librarian about the book. And that's
Right.
GPT. The
Yeah.
conversation, the tree of thought, as you're talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what you begin to have, and you can dive deeper and deeper and deeper, and you can really come out with a nice, well-crafted marketing plan for your targeted audience.
Right.
I mean, this is what Ginger's talking about with her book and her courses. And I mean, my God, this is just, for me, it's a time saver. And it's really, I mean, I got to ask you one last thing. I will end on this last question, Ginger. I don't know if you can answer this, but I just want to know your thought. What is the future of where we're headed with all this right now in your mind?
Yeah. So we're just at the beginning. I know when we were in the green room, we were talking about what stage are we at with AI? And I think JP said we're like like we're in elementary school. We're in like second or maybe third grade. I don't know.
I think I'm stuck on my thumb.
What was that?
I think I'm still stuck on my thumb, like on my crib.
Yeah. So there's a lot that's going to happen. What's happening with AI over the course of the next 5 years is monumental, and it's happening in our lifetime. And that's the thing. I get so excited about this because there's going to be a lot of things that streamline operations. Some jobs will go away. There will be some jobs that will go away, but most jobs will be enhanced and changed. And there will be many opportunities. And so you have to look at those opportunities and what those are, and then start with one. Just start with one thing. Don't get overwhelmed by it. It can be overwhelming. I started because I dabble around with so many different AI technologies, with video and podcasting and everything we do, that I get emails all the time. Hey, Ginger, there is a tool that does this. And so I had one day I got like 5 emails in a row, and it's like, okay, we need to stop this. So I made a directory. It's called aibeehive.com. So if you go to aibeehive.com, just think of a beehive with all the bees swarming around, and AI is the queen. And it has, I don't even know how many we have there. Honestly, companies are going and just adding theirs in there now, which is why I created it.
Cool.
But yeah, you can search for, video, you can search for photos, you can search for, different things. So, I mean, we're not going to be at, the robot place probably in the next 5 years. But I mean, who knows? There's so many brilliant minds working on this, and the genie's out of the bottle. So
I think it's like what everyone says. Like there's 2 good times to get into this stuff. It was about 14 months ago, and then today. Like you don't want to be 20 years down the road and then think that you should have gotten into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's another time to enhance your mortgage industry, career, right? So, Ginger, huge thank you for being such an incredible
thank you.
friend. By the way, just FYI, I love everything that we've done together.
Always.
It's so fun to collaborate with you, buddy.
Yep. I love it.
Doing this stuff is really cool. By the way, one more time, JP, can we show that QR code so everybody can get one last look at it? Guys, honestly, get to this book. I know that I kind of skimmed through it, and I love the little notebooks in there with the quick prompts. So download the ChatGPT Jumpstart Guide with this QR code. Look forward to Ginger come back on 2024 Potapalooza, because she's looking for some of the things to help me out. That's going to be really cool. And thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe. Let me know some feedback on next topics you want us to work on. And, buddy, I am done. Thank you, Ginger. Thank you, JP.
Thank you.
Get out of here, buddy.